We are talking oyster mushrooms specifics. Behind me, I have a whole table of what we've been kind of testing out, and I'm going to show you exactly what we've been talking about. So let's start with the yellows. Our yellows have been essentially on ice, and we have kind of always gotten used to them having just kind of small cones, pretty small, but they are like 3-month-old blocks, so any kind of fruiting is fabulous. But what we didn't realize is how great they could be. So right here we have a first flush of essentially a frozen yellow oyster block. What makes this incredibly interesting is how much bigger these mushrooms are. Also, because of the growth, you usually lose some of that intense color, but still, for them to get this big and have incredibly beautiful gills underneath, it's actually quite a feat. And then to make it even better, this is the first flush. This is a secondary. So that means this is its second time around, and it has given us these incredibly gorgeous yellow oysters. We have very, I don't want to say thin, but fragile stems. You can kind of see when I move the block, it waves a little bit. But a side profile gives you a better idea on just kind of the stem structure. This is really, really cool. That means that I can kind of rely on having a bigger flush now that the warm temperatures are kind of hopefully here to stay. Continuing on. Okay, so now that we've looked at the yellows, I want to bring you to our blue oysters. Blue oysters are the ones that we cold shocked and have put in the tent, and they have grown really interestingly. Our blue oysters, as you can see right here, have kind of grouped into different sides. And if you look even closer, you can see all of these kind of tiny baby pinsets that didn't take or could still take. So we have to experiment with pulling off parts of the block, seeing if the rest of the block will continue to grow or if the whole thing will just abandon ship, because sometimes that's exactly what happens. That being said, looking at these collections, we have kind of a little bit of a pattern here. Same kind of thing. We have just big kind of separated clusters at different stages, which is kind of difficult because if I'm trying to harvest consistently, I don't really want my mushrooms in different stages. Also, when you see this on mushrooms, there's a little bit of a kind of bumpy looking stem. This is kind of the sign of CO2. So this might be an issue because of where it's placed in my tent, where it's just not getting kind of the multiple air exchanges that the other ones are getting. But because these are all kind of all over my tent, I try not to put everything in the same space. It seems that it's not really just a CO2 problem. But again, we have the same kind of strain. This one's a little bit more homogeneous, but still has kind of crazy ready to go growth, and then kind of smaller with just a lot of pins not developing. And that's obviously not ideal because we kind of want everything to be ready at the same time. Which, again, I mean, this is our first time with blues, and it kind of just shows how different species are meant for different environments. And you might love blues in your tent and yada yada, but for the most part, sometimes species are extremely environmentally specific. So the shoe does not necessarily fit the same on everyone, and some people just prefer different strains based on the environment that they can provide. So, moving on, we have tried another strain of blue oyster, and this one's called the Blue Brat oyster. And as you can see, we have incredible uniformity. We want this kind of big bouquet kind of thing with very even, consistent pin set. And if you look closely, there's a little bit of a blue like tinge on the outsides of the petals. These are going to continue to open up. But again, regarding CO2, you can kind of tell you are having high CO2 with the longer stems. And to be honest, I'm not sure how much these are going to bloom out. Obviously, this is our first round, but I wanted to actually show you guys the stages of the blue brat. So to get started, when they first are coming out, look at this gigantic brain of a mycelium bump. And then, of course, we have these like very cute little pin sets that are essentially aggressively pushing their way through. Stage 2, very small babies at the bottom, bigger on top, but essentially consistent with that cluster. And then that's where we get the third stage of just kind of the full bouquet, which will continue to sit in the tent and just kind of fully open up. But it definitely is why testing different types of substrates and different types of species and different strains, etc., is so important, because every environment is so different and every strain is very different, especially versus regions. So what comes in the North America regions and what is in Europe is going to be definitely different. But just regarding all of these, these were all put in the tent 4 days ago. That's how quickly these are growing. So I'm gonna toss these back into the tent and get into pasteurization, but pretty interesting stuff to say the least. We also have a few other oysters that haven't bloomed yet, and so I'll definitely be able to keep you guys in the loop on those. We have been experimenting with different substrates, because obviously, and for instance, we did yellow oyster with beet pulp. I had never done this before. You guys see all those yellow clusters that look like popcorn? That's Primordia pin sets. Yellow, I have never seen yellow this aggressive on any substrate. Our oyster mushrooms, our yellow oyster mushrooms, are out of control. I mean, I have to fruit these or put them on ice ASAP. But that brings me to my next point. Because we've been trying different myceliums, I'm dealing with incredibly quick, fast growth that I was not prepared for. I'm talking about an entire colony of pin sets from the same group. I mean, I would ideally like to fruit this entire shelf, but again, it's not necessary, and I have to kind of balance this entire growth. I mean, all of these are either giving me incredible primordia, so much to a fault that they're actually giving off like the liquid out of the mushroom because they have nowhere to go. This right here, Florida oyster. We all did this together. You guys were there, remember? All of this, if you can see inside the bag, looks like a scary alien video. This is all mushrooms. This is a better side. These are all mushrooms just exploding in the bag. I have these, oh my God. It's like, you know, you get so good at your job that you end up being bad at your job because you can't keep up. I have to decide whether to just say, screw it, keep what I have in the refrigerator, fruit these blocks, and then just not have the flexibility with my refrigerator, or I think I need to buy another fridge. If you have 1,000 Swiss francs, that'd be super cool. please email it to Lion and Oyster. So every week with my production and everything like that, you guys see that I shake bags for like 20 minutes. And you might ask yourself, why does it matter? So this bag, Lion's made, super great. But this is what happens when you don't shake a bag. Obviously, you get a little bit less of disbursement, and you end up getting essentially a big side that is all mycelium, and then a backside that doesn't necessarily have any. And with this comes the risk of having contamination or just other competing mycelial bodies that are going to essentially fight off your lion's mane. Luckily, my pasteurization is so kick-ass that it just created gigantic mushroom brain on this side, but not on this side. So we're gonna be fruiting this in a very interesting way, but that is just why I shake the bags, and that's why it's also very important to do so. Okay, I know I have forgotten to show you guys the Maitake. I wanted to bring these back up because we've had some incredible developments. So if you weren't here a few months ago, this is what a Maitake block looks like just a few weeks in. You have tiny little specks. It's really kind of light. And then what happens is the mycelium, like all the other bags, takes over. And this one you can see still has some work to do, but it slowly takes over and it begins to get really quite hard. But what's weird is that it turns like a little bit of an orange for a bit, and then the white comes back, and it's incredibly hard. And they like to call these spider eyes, but you essentially get these weird like globs that they call spider eyes that are the beginning pins of Maitake. So there's a real chance that we will have Maitake. This is extremely promising. The block looks super good. I just found these today. And here is just another one that is also doing the spider eyes. Looks super healthy, really excited about this. And these are from the same batch. So super excited to see what happens, which brings us to, I don't know, I don't think this one's gonna make it. So this one turned crazy orange. But what's weird is that all of the other blocks of this group also turned just like this. But I'm getting spider eyes on top as well. So I'm not too sure. We're just we're going to just let this ride. But I mean, all other ones are really, you know, just kind of looking the same. I'm pretty sure these are fails, but that's the whole thing about testing out new mushrooms, new strains and stuff like that, is that you are always seeing how mushroom strains will work in your environment and then just kind of working from there, because Maitake might grow super easy for some people and it might be a mushroom that never fruits, which is a real thing. So knock on wood.